On.
Good morning. It's Monday, February 1st, Upton Borough Board of Selectmen meeting. Let us begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, just a quick update. Our chairman, Lloyd Wood, was hospitalized last Monday, had surgery, and is recuperating. Surgery was successful. Anticipates being released from the hospital sometime this week into recuperation. So our thoughts and prayers with Lloyd as he recovers, and we'll be looking to see him back here hopefully sooner rather than later. Is there any public input?
I have none.
All right, let's begin with review and approval of minutes. First is public minutes from January 25th.
I've got a bunch of corrections.
All right.
Under public input, the last line is effluent, EF, as opposed to influent. The second page, second paragraph, last line, which are high-stress situations for personnel.
Okay, yes, I see it.
I think the two needs to go away.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
Two. So
TO,
which are a high-stress situation for personnel, comma, and then remove two. Is that right?
okay.
Yeah.
Fourth paragraph. Outboard is one word.
Okay.
Okay, fifth paragraph.
I'm sorry. Well,
Melvin Marine will be
oh,
complete.
on board. Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Fifth paragraph, second line. The assistance to firefighters grant is in the process of being submitted, not to being submitted.
Okay.
Eighth paragraph, third line. He presented the board with an appraisal for the current use portion of the land they want for the Great Meadows.
Okay.
Last paragraph, last line. Stated she has done well with the minutes and meetings, but has not been involved.
Yeah.
Third page, second paragraph. Last line. Or next to the last line. So he can have more sets of eyes on the proposed project.
Hang on, I got one. Okay, so he can have more sets of eyes, and you want on the proposed?
Project, period. The next line, computer and video needs tweaking.
Okay.
And that's it.
Can you repeat the first one? I didn't catch that when you started on it.
Okay, the first one's on the first page,
Mm-hmm.
public input.
Yeah,
The last line,
okay.
you have influent in Tuftonboro, and it should be effluent.
Oh, jeez. Okay, thank you.
I'll move we approve the minutes as modified.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Next is non-public at 8:50 a.m. on 125.
I'll move approval.
And I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And next is non-public at 10 o'clock
I have a correction.
on the 20s, that's on the
Okay.
22nd, yeah.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th line down.
Uh-huh.
Second line. If accepted, the board will announce at their next regular meeting, not it.
Okay.
I'll move approval is corrected.
And I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
See what happens when I read the minutes, Kathy?
Hmm?
You see what happens when I read the minutes?
No, that's good. Because it's been a rough week.
Yeah.
I was jamming.
Yep. All right. Next up, Clay and Chris, come on down. How you guys doing this morning?
Good.
So, we asked you both to come in this morning because we want to announce that the board has offered Chris the position of transfer station supervisor, and he is accepted. And you are going to start on the 16th, is that right,
Yes.
of February? So,
Who's plowing my driveway? 'Cause I'm having second thoughts.
Okay.
and Clay has agreed to stick around for about another month beyond that,
Right.
right? Give or take a little
Yep.
bit, to do some handoff and help get Chris's training on schedule and all that good stuff. So I don't have anything formal planned, but if you'd like to say something to the camera.
No, I appreciate the opportunity and I appreciate Clay for the
Yes.
support.
Is the staff all up to speed on this, or is this gonna be a surprise?
No, it was not public yet, so
Okay.
I'll let them know first thing tomorrow.
Very good.
So they have an idea, but
We've got a snow day tomorrow, so it'll be interesting.
well, we'll be up there plowing, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe, you have a,
I have a question, being a past member of the transfer station way back when, is Chris scheduled to go through a series of courses at the state, or is he gonna do it online to get his license?
He will be, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was my only question.
I'll hook him up with Carrie. We have all accomplished our annual training about a week ago. We did it via webinar through NRA, and I'll set a similar program up for Chris and get him the initial training at Fairfield. But there's we'll send a message down that he's on board and with us, and there won't be any problem as far as him being able to work until he gets his ratings and stuff. The initial training is, that will come in the next available one. Obviously, they're stretched a little thin, but we'll get it done. There's one scheduled, but it's too early to get in and to get on board and get the check down to them and all that stuff. Because even if they have a phone call, they won't put them in until they have the check. So
I know that
and
part,
when is this one scheduled?
3 days from now.
Oh,
I know
So
that,
we'll get him in the next one, and there's no problem with him working. I had the same thing when I started. still work, and there's a grace period allowed, and there will always be somebody there that's a senior rated anyway, so that's what's required.
I know that part of our consideration, maybe not when you were in the room, but of keeping you around for a transition period was
Right.
just for things like that. And if, for instance, Chris needed to be somewhere else, although I don't think they're doing that anymore, at least we'd have some continuity of
Yes,
management.
I fulfilled the square. I told Chris outside that if he ever comes up short, needs something, I can always go in and push a button, load the truck, or do whatever. I'm more than willing to do that.
And you need to, I mean, a couple of things that come to my mind, you need to spend some time with Chris on the presentation to the selectmen.
Yes, I will.
And also on the Santec contract. So he's
Up to speed.
yeah, he's familiar with how that's gonna work and
Right.
what the needs are there and who to talk to. and
Yep.
all of that.
I'll introduce him to Dave
Right.
and get on the phone with him together with Dave, because I gotta call Dave anyway. But, and we have a Tuftonboro handbook for the transfer station. We know where it is now, since Kathy came back. And we'll go through that. And for every new employee, I have them read the transfer station handbook and the town policy, and then work for a week, because they're not gonna understand the stuff when you first read it. Work for a week, then reread it, we'll do that together, and we'll go over all the items. And in those items is a specific monthly wrap-up, monthly totals, the yearly totals, and all that. And they have attachments, I have like 32 attachments in that handbook, which is the actual document itself, so.
Yeah, you weren't in on the interview and I apologize for that. I don't know how that happened, but I think what we came away with thinking that we're looking for consistency of management, but we're not averse to change. I mean,
Right.
you've been running it for quite some time, and bringing a little new blood in is not a
Sure.
bad thing.
Sure.
Now, everybody has their own style, their own strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
The key is to understand what it is that needs to get done, what the function is, and the way we service the community, and
We are a service.
set your own sail at the way to get it done.
Isn't the waste management contract this year?
No, we got a 5-year,
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I think we have 3 years left.
Okay.
3 or
So
4.
they'll have
So
plenty of time.
he'll have some time before he has to
Right.
get
Right.
involved and looking at.
And I'll introduce him to Pete Blatchfeld down at Waste Management. And I'll make sure everybody gets introduced.
Okay.
And, but yeah, I've got no pride of authorship. I learned that very early in the service. It's mission accomplishment, that's what's important.
Well, no, what's most important, and I've told that to the office staff, and I'm gonna tell it to Chris, is it's to make the selectmen look good. That's the most important
Absolutely.
agenda item, so.
And try for every proposal to be unanimous.
Right. That doesn't happen
No.
all the time, but it happens most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, good.
All
Glad
right.
to have Chris here. You're gonna still be on the, whatever, election thing that you do?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Sorry I couldn't get you to run for selectman. Well, this is where all the big money is. I just wanna-
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Enjoy the snow.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. We'll have a card for you at the end.
signature file. First up is an intent to cut for 16-2-21.
I'll move to sign.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's 2/1/21. I'll just pass them over to you when I get
Okay.
done, rather than, the next one is an intent to cut for 16-2-19.
I'll move to sign.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next is the town map maintenance proposal
I'm
from
sorry. I'm sorry, the next is.
That's from Cartographic Associates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the GIS maps.
Yep.
So this is our annual update, and that's for, at a contract cost of $3,000.
I'll move we sign.
And I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and next up is a memorandum of understanding for COVID preparedness at YMCA Camp Belknap.
You did vote for it, but you never, nobody signed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
we already voted, I think.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
did. All right.
So,
Well, I'll go ahead and sign that then, so that we get it on the way. And the final one that we have is a DES grant for exotic aquatic plant control, and that needs to be signed in front of a notary.
okay,
Because
well,
it's
I'll make a motion. Is it one signature?
Well, actually, it's one signature from the board, and then it's the signature of the, my signature is the authorizing person on the, so there's two different documents, and I can't sign them both.
Okay.
So, and you were gonna see if Jen
Yeah,
could come
I'll give her
up.
a call right now.
All right. So,
Well, I'll make a motion that we sign the documents however we can.
yeah, and I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I'll pass this to you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, Jen, it's Kathy County. Can you come up and do some notary signing for the selectmen? Thank you. Should be up in a few.
All right. Next up is action items. First item is 2020 estimated revenue. And I believe this is what we looked at before we didn't approve it. Is that
Right,
correct?
Diane said she needs to vote for approval.
All right,
There's no signature.
so do you have a copy of this statement?
No, I just got
It's
it.
just this one, right?
Yeah. she only
Okay.
did one.
That's the
So
only one.
this is the one that we had talked about before.
So it's not
With-
included in my paperwork as well?
No,
Okay.
Right,
she
I'll
gave it to
stop
me as I
looking.
walked out the door.
all
I'll
right.
stop looking.
Yep. Well, actually, there's more than one copy here.
Oh, great.
So
I didn't look, she handed it to me.
there you go.
Thank you.
Yep.
You want me to take it?
So, yeah, she made copies for all of us. And do you have a copy?
No?
There's a copy for you as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So that gives us a net 2020 revenue of $1,400,242.
So we've established the betterment on Willand Road at $20,000.
That was from the contributions last year. That wasn't the,
Oh,
That
okay,
wasn't
that was the
betterment.
contribution.
yeah, that wasn't the
Yep,
betterment assessment that we're looking at
okay.
potentially for this year.
And the milfoil numbers, right? You would know more than anyone. $3,461.
Yes. Yep. Well, I say yes, it sounds right. Anything that's you see as concern?
Um, So we had an estimated revenue of $1,291,847 at the beginning of the year. And we have a realized revenue of $1,406,267.
Yep.
So that number doesn't match.
Yeah, so that's.
Well, I guess the library, well, that should be down here.
Well, so that's a good question. So that number is $6,025 different than what we have up here as a listed number, so that's how we end up.
Where did it change? We're gonna have to go through all of them.
Can you get a hold of Diane?
You want to rock you?
Yeah, ask her if she can come up. We're looking at the revenue and trying to understand the bottom line difference from the,
I'll have to bring a notary, she might as well notarize for you.
18.
There it is. The $6,025 was transferred to the conservation. Conservation.
Still need her?
We found it.
We found it.
You don't need her?
I don't need it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that includes the library. We,
Hi, Jen.
Oh,
I thought that we had, didn't we
how we
take
doing?
some money to reduce taxes, or did we hold on to it?
No, we held on to it for
That's right.
this year. So we have state grant stuff that,
Do you need her?
that yeah, we need to write. So, let's see.
I left a message for Diane to come up, and we go back and tell her my mind.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Oh, we did, okay.
They figured out what they were looking for.
Yep,
Gotcha.
all right. I'm printing your name on here. Is it just William?
It is just William.
All right.
Well, it's William L., but William's fine.
Hopefully I'll get mine soon, you won't have to keep on.
That's okay. I know you applied a while ago, didn't you?
I know.
Probably
Everybody's
everything.
working in the offices, so who
Yeah.
knows how long it'll take.
That's true.
One of these days, Kathy will get her stamp and then we won't have to be dragging you up. Let's see, we approved this today, correct?
We did.
All right. So, Chip, you gotta sign that as the certifying official down there. And I have to sign this one as the grantee.
So this is the first day,
February, yep.
and I'm here if I'm looking like my hand. As the,
assured that if we don't do it quite right, the state will send it back and make us do it again. Because we've had that happen before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's the state bureaucracy that's, if you don't do every little piece of it
Exactly right.
exactly right,
Mhm.
and I don't disagree with Amy, because she'll get called on the carpet if it doesn't,
Mhm.
uh,
I believe that's okay. Just check. So this one,
yep.
and then
Yeah,
this one.
that one.
And I put Chip's name because he's the certifying officer.
Yes, right. Yep, no, that's, looks good to me,
All
thank you.
right, anything else?
Just an update on Lloyd, he's doing well. I
Is he?
expect him to be released from the hospital sometime this week.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
then of course he'll have some recovery time and that sort of thing, but Bob spoke with him yesterday and he was, you know, mine's going a mile a minute asking questions about school stuff and
Oh,
town
okay.
stuff, and
So his speech is okay and,
so,
Mhm.
you know, recovery's coming along well,
okay, good.
so. That's what we know.
I'm glad to hear that. I
Yeah.
hope he'll be up and running soon.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Good.
All right,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Apologize for having to drag you up here.
No problem.
All right. Now, back to the revenues. Are we good?
I think we're good.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed estimated 2020 revenues.
And I will second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. On to that. And the next item in the action folder is reviewing the draft warrant. Do you have a copy of that?
Do I?
Let's see.
He does.
Yeah, okay. So I think we ought to go through it today with an eye that we can have Diane then engage the state and have them review the articles. Not that this is in its final form, but it's at least to the point where having them make sure the wording is right.
You can decide to, if they're in the correct way you want them right now. I can change them to numbers instead of letters.
Yeah, well, I know that if we're doing a bond issue, that the bond issue has to come first,
Right.
so,
Okay, so that would be, E would be number, E would be
So-
number,
before we get to the warrant, why don't we spend some time talking about
Article
The-
E.
I was thinking about, put this aside for a second and talk about the work on the police facility. You
Right,
and Jack and the chief were,
right.
had a meeting last Thursday,
Right.
generated some questions apparently, and Phil had generated some answers.
He did. We
So-
made some changes to the building. Not the extent of the building, but the layout. And I've got a set of the plans that we've revised. I can go through them with you if you'd like. Basically, the major changes were that we extended the lobby back further, so it's a little more user-friendly. We moved the second bathroom, so the lobby has a ADA compliant bath. We moved the second bathroom back towards the locker room and gathering room. So that space was freed up, which changed the layout here with the more record storage. And we also changed the placement of the doors in the receptionist area out of the corner so that we have more record storage on the back wall there, and also more record storage in what's known as the record storage room. We added higher windows, high up windows to the interrogation areas to allow some sunlight in so it doesn't look quite so much like a prison. We added a man door on the garage because it did not have one.
Okay.
I was remembering being trapped in the car wash in Ossipee where they have no exit. So we changed that, and we actually turned the building, which was kind of a major change, because the way that it is laid out in the plan, the last building change is the front door, and we're still battling with him, our architect on that, but he had one of those 1950s long windows on the front door, which we all agreed was terrible. So it's either going to be a more colonial front door with transom windows or a solid front door. We also made the bollards across the entryway brick-faced, as well as the drip edge area. We asked him to get a price on drip facing that, or brick facing that as well. The heating system, we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on. We haven't convinced Phil of the rightness of our argument, but part of the discussion that we were having was the need to have three-phase power, and hence a three-phase power generator is premised primarily on the heat pumps. And so what we wanted him to do was get us a price on forced hot water heat, in-floor heating, and get rid of the heat pumps. And then we have to address the air conditioning issues. So give us some ideas on that. He did write us back a letter. There's all kinds of notes on it, so I'll let you read through it. But I don't, although Phil seems to think we might have raised the price by $5,000, I don't really think we have. And he's a little concerned about twisting the building, but the problem with the way he had it set is that the driveway impacts the wetland area. So now we're got the expense of a wetland permit application and remediation. There was some talk that the retention pond in the back was going to be qualified as wetland remediation, which I don't believe it does. And I may be wrong, but we're gonna have to have a retention pond anyway because of the amount of solid surface that we're creating.
Mhm.
So it isn't as if we are adding a retention pond as some benefit for having impacted the wetland. So what we thought of doing was, if you're familiar with, if this is the road,
Yep,
and this is the original siting of
right,
onto the road,
right.
is twisting it like that, so that we're moving the driveway away from the wetland,
Mhm.
increasing some parking on this end, we're also moving it back a little bit, and then we're driving around. So Phil's working on that. The next issue was, I couldn't find anywhere on the plans where there was any notation about exterior lighting. So we have to have exterior lighting.
Yeah.
He had talked about some soffit lights and a light over the front door, which is, I guess, fine, but you still need parking lot lights.
Mhm.
So he's gonna, I haven't finished the letter from him, so I don't know if he's addressed that yet. So we had that issue. We talked about, revisited the siding, because I'm not convinced that vinyl siding is the way to go on a building that is gonna have a working lifespan of probably close to 50 years.
Yep,
So that didn't make a lot of sense. There's a suspended ceiling, the heating, okay, that's the other part of the heating system that I'm totally against, and I will vote against this building if it comes down to that, is all of the heat is being created by heat pumps, which is fine, and then ducted into the ceiling and blown downwards. So I remember when they did Kingswood Regional High School originally, back in the 60s, and they did exactly that. The heat was in the ceiling. So what you're doing is you're forcing the heat down to a 60-inch or 55-inch thermostat height, and your floor is cold. It just
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense to me at all. And it doesn't make sense in this environment either. So that was one of my prime movers in trying to shift this heating system away from that particular model. I don't think the cost difference is as great as if we look at the budget that he presented originally for heat and HVAC, it seemed well padded.
Mhm.
It was $270,000, which is more.
That in an email about the location that I got today. I got a lot, so I was
Yeah.
thinking about as I went.
So he's saying if we use, looks like he's estimating if we go to a conventional heating and AC system, it will increase the cost of that system by $15,000.
Right.
He's got how much in the, he's got 270,000 in it already? So it's less than 10% difference.
But he's got a $5,000 increase in the cost of the generator.
For three phase.
Yes.
Yeah.
now you-
Well,
now
I'm
you
just,
got-
I'm just saying, 15,000 is a change number on the cost of the
Yeah, it's not-
heating. It doesn't sound like a huge, it's not
Right.
like it's a 30% difference.
Right. But there are, the other mitigating factors is you drive that $15,000 figure downwards with the savings in other places like the generator.
Right, right.
So those issues came up. I don't know that he's gonna, well, the three biggest numbers obviously are that we saw on the bid was the general contracting work, the excavation.
Site
et cetera,
work, yeah.
the electrical and the HVAC. All of the changes, we haven't changed any of the footprint on this building or for that matter, much of the layout.
Mhm.
So he should be able to get those three numbers pretty solid prior to vote. My only concern, and I guess we're gonna move back into the warrant article at some point in time,
Yeah.
is I almost think that we need to start at 1.8 if we're gonna finance that, or, I mean, I know we will do it for less, but I hate to get approval and then find ourselves $10,000 short or
Mhm.
$20,000 short.
You have to find the money someplace else, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it just, I mean, we can make it happen, it just makes it look like we didn't think about it thoroughly enough.
Right,
I mean, I would sooner, he's concerned about the framing, et cetera, and the costs, and not being able to nail down the costs. But almost all of this building is steel stud work. Steel prices are pretty consistent, I mean, and they're gonna go up, but it's not like lumber prices,
Right.
which are crazy.
yeah,
And the truss people are pretty consistent in their pricing as well. They haven't been quite as dramatically outrageous as the lumber framing. So at any rate, I think that he can get a framing cost together, even as early as this month, that will be pretty close to what it actually will cost to do.
I know we had some earlier conversation about wood framing rather than
Right.
steel, and I don't know if, did you guys engage Phil at all on that?
I think we did. I don't know how much engagement actually happened, but I know his arguments about steel framing versus stick frame. One is consistency of product, the other is consistency of pricing. And he cannot give us a stick frame cost that will be good in May,
Right.
or June, or July.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's a little unwilling to go in that direction because of that. I'm not averse to metal framing, although I've never actually done any myself. It's done all over the country, and
Yeah, it
it
is.
seems to work okay. So it's a little harder to renovate, but I guess it's not, I mean, there are skill sets that I don't have any idea how they work, but they're out there. And I don't know how much, we're not gonna be renovating this building during our lifetime,
Let's hope not.
but somebody will.
All right, let's hope not.
It'd be
We're not
nice to
doing our
throw
job
a
right
ringer.
now.
Yeah. Throw those other guys a ringer and let them
Right.
deal with it. We did talk about the meeting room, which I thought was too big, as well as the exercise room. But those two rooms are going to affect our grant possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So they are what they are. The other issue that the chief brought up was furnishings and fixtures. And I don't believe there's any of that in the current number that Phil has given us, but you need to furnish the building.
Yep.
And also and I don't know whether, as I said, I haven't finished reading his emails, but you've got the IT equipment bay in the very center of the building, and there was no ventilation on the plan for that room. And I just remember from my days at the county how problematic that is, because that equipment, even as modern as it is, generates a substantial amount of heat.
Yep.
And, oh, the other question I had is if you do steel framing, what do you do about your wireless? I mean, does that adversely affect the wireless? I don't know. But we should have wireless capability in there, which I don't know that, and I know Andy was gonna, or the chief was gonna include that in our questions. Because even if our officers and staff are using wired connections, whenever you have somebody in custody and we've got a holding cell there, and their attorney comes in, they're not gonna wanna use our wired connection, they're gonna wanna use a wireless
Mm-hmm.
connection. So we need to have some wireless capability in the building, and I think the whole building should be able to support wireless. Um, The only other piece that I forgot to mention when I was talking with the chief and Jack was, we're obviously gonna bring the power in underground from the street. We should make sure we're putting in an extra conduit there for future. I mean, if we get fiber optic, they're gonna want their own place to put it. The other thing is we need to put some sort of access into the utility room and the electrical panel, so that if in the future we elect to put solar down there, that it has somewhere to get in the building without cutting holes and making it look like hell. And it's pretty obvious, I mean, the siting of that is gonna be behind the building anyway and facing south, so it should be pretty easy to figure out where to run the culvert, where to dead end it. So I think that was pretty much all of it. We, we reviewed every single room in the building, and personally, I would have liked to change a couple more rooms, but I couldn't get any buy-in from the chief or Jack, so I'm not gonna whine about it now. The chief feels confident that, and we also had is he the captain now or a sergeant came in, Jamie came in, and gave his 2 cents worth prior to the chief coming in, so we've got buy-in from the force as well as the chief. I think we're in good shape there. Yeah, it will present well. We are adding those windows, and I can kind of show you a picture.
Yeah.
The problem with it was, this was just a blank wall. I mean, it starts to look a little penitentiary.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
I think that's a good call to put some
yeah, just
higher level windows in there.
friendly it up a little bit.
Yep.
That's about it.
Okay. All right, so,
I'll give you this. And the black typing kind of messed up the order.
all right.
But the black typing.
I've got a copy of it here.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yep, yep.
Those are the questions we have for Phil, and
Yep.
the red are his answers.
Yep. Does it make sense to have him come back and meet with us, like maybe,
Well, he needs to get his, I mean, he was concerned about the site, so he needed to do some test bits. I don't know if they've even done those yet, have they?
They haven't, they were asking about excavation, it's been going back and forth. And Jim told them that he could get his equipment down here for them with the snow coming tonight and tomorrow. He recommended Wednesday or Thursday.
but this was 2 weeks ago that he asked us if he could
Yeah.
dig the pits, right?
Yeah,
So,
and he just
Okay, so
contacted
we need
them.
to, I mean, we need to assuage this general contractor that it's nothing other than a gravel pit, because it isn't anything other than a gravel pit. And I think then Phil can give us a little firmer grasp on the site work.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, so, anyway, so,
They're talking about Wednesday or Thursday. They didn't
Do we-
contact Jim till like Friday,
yeah,
Do
so.
we have, not to violate HIPAA, but is there some way we can get Lloyd these notes, or is he capable of reviewing, or is he gonna be convalescent for quite a while?
I think he's gonna be convalescent for a while,
Okay,
yeah. So,
because I think we need to, well, obviously, we need to move forward.
We do.
but I wanted to give him the opportunity to weigh in if he could, but if that's
Yep.
not possible, that's okay.
I did make copies of everything for him for his folder, so that
Okay.
when they are ready to bring a folder to him, it's,
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Back to your question, no, I think we have to have him here before the bond hearing. I mean, we really do. And then when are we doing that? We're doing that at the end of the month. 18th?
We're doing the bond hearing on the 12th,
the
right?
12th is
Yeah.
the next
So,
Friday.
and I don't think he will be
Ready?
home by then.
No, I'm thinking, Phil.
Phil,
You mentioned meeting with
Uh,
Phil.
it would be good to have him here for the
Yeah.
bond hearing, for sure.
And we're meeting next Monday.
We're meeting next Monday.
Mhm.
Why don't we get Phil in next Monday? That'll give us, if we need, if things fly off the table, at least that'll give us 4 days to
Yeah.
put something together.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
all right.
And hopefully by then, I'm sorry. I keep-
No, good.
By then we'll have the information from the treasurer, so we can speak with authority. I mean, we're gonna be asking the budget committee to weigh in without a payment at this point in time. So I think probably the budget committee meeting that's scheduled for tomorrow night
Mhm.
is gonna get canceled and pushed off to another night.
Well, the following Tuesday is their hearing.
Yeah, hearings
And
next
I-
Tuesday.
And they can't move it? There has to be some,
That was their last date that they could have it.
I think.
well, who's gonna come in the snowstorm?
No,
No,
it's
next
not.
Tuesday.
Oh, next Tuesday.
The 9th, yeah.
And
Okay.
then
So we're not meeting tomorrow?
you were
Okay.
to
but-
review warrant articles, which we might have
Okay,
done.
so sometime during this week, we'll probably reschedule tomorrow's meeting, and then we'll have the hearing next Tuesday.
Well, from what I understand, that they basically wanted to see what you had for warrant articles, because you didn't know. So
Right.
I think we can still give them, once you guys decide on numbers and stuff, we should still
Right.
be able to give them the draft that we have.
Right, but they're not gonna wanna vote on warrant articles the same night that they have the budget hearing, because that would just make that night
Right.
really long. All right.
Mm.
All right, so let's go through these in the same order they're on the sheet here, and then we can see about moving them around.
Okay.
Okay,
Article A, we see.
okay, so
Yeah, the ones on the front page are, that's all set.
yep,
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $248,000 for the replacement of Fire Rescue Department SCBA equipment. $219,470 to be withdrawn from a previously established SCBA Capital Reserve Fund. $28,530 to be raised from taxes.
I'll make a motion that we accept that warrant article.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Article B.
Quick question now. Am I doing Board of Selectmen 3-0 or 2-0 underneath the articles?
You're doing 2-0 because the third member of the board is not available.
Right,
Right, okay.
Yep. And-
On the bottom, right?
Huh? Yeah, where it says recommended by Board of Selectmen 2-0.
Okay, because we did vote on them ahead of time. You guys voted on these to do this amount of money, so I didn't know if it would be 3-0 or 2-0, because you voted on these warrant articles in the past, right?
If we already voted on them, then it could be 3-0. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
because
Right.
these all were written after you voted.
All right.
okay, so the ones that don't have a notation of vote are the only ones that we're gonna vote on today?
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
So B we voted on,
Yep. So is that,
You voted on the 120, you voted on
yep.
the,
Um,
So do we need to change anything on B?
Yeah. We do. Do we not?
So I'm not sure about the wording on that last sentence.
I know, I don't
A grant in the amount of $120,000. Yeah, I think you said that.
It's 75%, he said,
Right,
but somebody had written 90, so.
yeah. Well, why don't we leave it that way and see what DRA
Okay.
wants.
Yeah, they may want us to list the taxes.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right. Article C, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $124,625 to pay a third installment toward fire truck acquired in 2018 is approved by voters pursuant to Article 6 of the 2018 town meeting. Principal amount is $115,951. Interest is $8,674. This 5-year lease agreement contains an escape clause.
But I need a column in that.
Yeah, there ought to be a comma in
Yeah.
8 comma.
Yeah.
So, is it a fire truck or fire apparatus? That's the only question.
I just used what you had last year. If you
If
want.
that's what we had last year, I'd say that's,
Yeah.
just stay the same, yeah. All right, that one's straightforward. See if the town will vote, Article D, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $370,000 for the preparation and paving of town roads. That's, again, is straightforward.
Yep.
Yeah,
Article
this is
E.
the one.
Hmm?
This is the one.
Yeah. To see if the town, Article E, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,600,000. Now I'm gonna have a closed paren after the number, to build and equip a new police facility. Further, to authorize the withdrawal of $664,258 from a previously established police facility capital reserve fund. $250,000 to come from an awarded USDA grant and $400,000 to come from the undesignated fund balance. $285,742 to be raised by taxes.
Now, that was the original one you guys were thinking of. So.
Right, so,
Are we changing it to 1,800,000 or?
well,
No, I think we can leave it at 1.6 for this.
right. So, and I would just say in that last sentence, I think we raised from taxes
Okay.
Yeah.
to be consistent with the other ones we're doing.
And I think it's, and this is just a personal preference, further as opposed to furthermore.
Where am I at?
Further, comma, to authorize.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want Molly to fucking scream at us. I'm just sorry.
Hmm?
I don't want Molly to do.
Yeah, right.
Hang on, I'm trying to find the furthermore, I'm lost.
Third line
Yeah.
down, the first word.
Yep.
Oh,
So
so you just
the
want.
second sentence, just make it further, comma, to authorize the withdrawal,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Okay. All right,
All right,
that one good?
yep,
So that is Article, well, they're gonna get numbered.
That's
Yeah.
what you want.
that's E, right?
So F is the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
No, well, we didn't know which one you were picking to put on the warrant.
so,
No, because the wording is if Article E passes, this article will be null and void.
Yeah, but
right,
okay.
This article is contingent on Article E not passing. I mean, that's how,
Right, although we're gonna number the article, so she can leave that blank for the moment, actually.
Yeah, so this
Alright.
is gonna be,
So,
this would be Article 1.
yeah, this is gonna have to be,
article, there'll have to be the second one, because you're saying if it doesn't pass, then.
well, so here's the thing. The bond article has to be the first one on the warrant.
Right.
So,
So this language has to go on
The
the
second,
bond or the next one.
yeah,
but again, I don't think it's inconsistent. In other words, this, you can have, if this is gonna be Article 4, because Article 3 is the zoning, this is gonna be Article 4, you can have it contingent on Article 5 not passing. But one of the challenges in this whole process is how do you,
How do you make
what we want to do is offer people the opportunity to vote on a one and done payment.
Mhm. Well, I think that goes to the explanation of the meeting.
Right,
I mean, I don't think DRA is going to allow us to put the one and done first and the bonds second.
no, but we may be able to modify the order on the floor of the meeting. Town meeting
Yeah,
can-
we'd have to have a parliamentarian look at it. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'll,
But we've got time,
we've got time, absolutely.
so I think,
Practically, it makes sense to consider the one and done first. But
Right.
we have to structure the warrant so that the purse strings people, which is DRA, allows it. Because if they don't allow it, it doesn't make any difference.
right,
You can't do it.
right.
So, and it's a statutory thing that I believe that the bond has to come first. So,
So we need to move the language of the last sentence. This article is contingent on Article
whatever it is,
B, or whatever the second article is,
yeah,
not passing.
right.
so it would be article,
Wait a minute, no.
no,
This language has to move out of this warrant article into the warrant article that we just talked about. Right? So the one and done article is Article E. So if we ended that with, this article is contingent on the previous article not passing.
Mm-hmm.
If the previous article passes, this article will be null and void. And then we move on to, right, then we move on.
So you're
to-
saying we ought to move this language to the end of Article E,
Right,
yeah,
right,
okay?
right.
All right,
so then it would be contingent on article 4 not passing. I
Right.
mean, yes.
If Article
If
4,
Article 4 passes, this article will be null and void. That's
Right.
what will be said on the
Right.
bottom of Article 5.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
and I'll move approval of that language.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye. Good. Okay, so we have two
Yeah.
alternative scenarios for the police station.
All right.
Now,
think
are we
we-
gonna do recommended 3-0 on both of them? Because you guys, I don't know about, was he?
No, I
here
think,
for
I think on the bond one it's 2-0 because Lloyd has not been
Okay,
part of that conversation.
okay.
The other,
What I would suggest with respect to the capital reserve one is you leave the last line off, and if we get to that point in the process, you just table the article.
Yeah, I just don't know whether DRA will buy it if we don't have some language in there to, I mean, they don't want us buying 2 police stations, I'm sure of that. That would be my concern.
Yep.
But, and maybe what we have to do
All
is.
right, so let's leave that language in and
let's
see what
they
DRA
say.
says.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if we want to tweak it later, we can go back to them and see if they'll buy it. Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Okay.
All right.
So that's gonna be Article 6, correct?
Well, we're not, the only one that has a number right now is 4.
Okay.
So practically, if they all go on the warrant and it all goes to town meeting,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta take an hour for voting on Article 4,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
which means that the subsequent articles for the police facility as alternatives, you gotta wait until the hour is over. Not, it makes sense that they're next on the warrant, but practically you would, in town meeting, deal with other business while the voting's going on, because you don't want everybody to just sit there and twiddle their thumbs for an hour while they're waiting to get to that point. All right, so let's,
I'm showing, just to end the conversation on that one, I'm showing that as Article 4, borrowing money.
Yeah.
yes,
And being one and done, is it Article E here is Article 5.
okay, that makes sense, yeah.
And then the next article will be Article 6.
Article 6, which is the, to put money in capital reserve. Did we already vote on that?
Yes, you did.
Hmm?
Yes, you did.
Okay, but we didn't vote on Article 4 yet, is that correct?
You did not. Well,
Okay,
you just did approve the language, but
all right.
Do we not approve it?
So I will move Article 4 as altered, and the only alteration was to take the last 2 sentences and move it over to
Article 5.
Article 5.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so Article E becomes Article 5, the next one becomes Article 6. So it's, the last line is gonna read, this article is contingent on Article 4 and/or Article 5 not passing. If Article 4 and/or Article 5 passes, the article will be null and void. All right.
I'll move accepting Article 6.
And I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we did approve this before?
I thought you did.
We did, yeah.
Okay. All
So
right,
you're just,
so we're just correcting the language on this.
Okay.
We're
Yeah,
adding the 4 and 5 and 4 and 5.
right,
right.
all right. Article F is the contingency fund. I know we voted on that before. Typically, that goes down, further down the warrant.
Okay.
So we'll skip over that in terms of numbering. Article G, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 for the design and permitting of the Lake Road project. I know we voted on that before. Article H, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate this sum of $17,000 to be deposited in the previously established milfoil expendable trust fund. All funds will be distributed from the milfoil joint board, no funds to be raised by taxes. All right. Article I, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $60,000 to purchase land to add to the Great Meadow. And that's what we talked about last week, but the total project cost is $100,000.
Yeah.
we're guessing, right? So I think we have to have language in there that's, we're raising and appropriating $100,000, and then we're gonna say that $40,000 will come from, from grants and donations, and that $60,000
To be raised by.
to be raised from taxes.
Right. Do we have to be more specific on the property?
I don't know.
At this point, why don't we send it to DRA this way and see what they say?
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with you that the better description might work. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get this thing to Diane so she can get it in front of them.
Right.
And
And
so,
we're gonna send them the RIP the same time as DRA, just to try to move it along.
yep,
Okay, yeah, and
Yep.
make sure to make a note for Diane that this is land taken by the town for unpaid taxes. So we have to buy it from the tax collector, basically. It's not like, we can't just pay $100,000 for town-owned land. It just, that doesn't make any sense.
mhm. So
Okay.
we're gonna say to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to purchase land to add to the Great Meadow project. $40,000
Comes from grants and
To-
donations.
to be raised from grants and donations, $60,000 to be raised from taxes.
Yep.
I will move that article.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Next, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $50,000 for the purpose of completing improvements to the section of Willamette Road that was approved for conversion from Class 4 to from Class 6, not Class 4, Class 6,
Oh, geez, okay.
to a Class 5 status by Article 24, March 10th, 2020 town meeting. The sum to be paid by property owners fronting said road through betterment assessment is allowed by RSA 231-28 through 231-31. So I have no idea if $50,000 is a good number. It's just,
I actually gave you, with my update, Jim gave you a quote
yeah,
and what he felt needed done.
okay.
Can you read it to me? Because I can't find it.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
I can find my copy.
I don't see it either.
I'm not the only one.
Unless
It was
it's-
55,
Oh,
55,000.
I see, all right.
You have it?
I do have it, yeah.
Okay.
So culverts need to be replaced and extended longer.
Should be in your yellow folder.
Straighten out a section of road near the bottom of incline will require removing banking and may also require hamming of ledge or large stone. You don't have that?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I just need the number.
Yep, all right. Well, let's make that $55,000, and where we ultimately end up, I don't know, but
Well,
I think we have a kind of a
excuse me.
balancing situation going on here. I don't want to go crazy.
Well, I mean,
Charging the property owners
the
for some.
thing that hasn't been added into this, which I had asked for, but it didn't happen, that was before Kathy, was obviously, these properties are now on a class 5 road. How does that change their property values? How does it change their tax assessments? They're gonna be paying more taxes
Right,
without a betterment.
right.
So part of the payment for this improvement is actually being paid through their normal property
Right.
taxes. So I think 55,000 plus the 20 that we got in a donation, $75,000, I think is more than enough participation on their side, given the fact that for the next 50 years, they're gonna be paying
Yep,
a higher tax bill.
yep,
And, but it also gives, just because we're online here, it also gives the property owners in the form of Skip Hurt primarily, because he's the one who's emailed us a couple of times, a voice in this project as opposed to just the town
yep.
plowing into the road. So I'm gonna move that we approve that.
And I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
The only addition I'd put is that Kathy check with the, well, DRA will tell us, but I was gonna have her look at the Zadida.
That's what we
That's
did
what
with
you
the
did,
value.
right?
That's
Yeah.
what you did, okay.
Right.
As long as the language is consistent, that's fine.
Yep. All right. So the next one that we haven't voted on yet, but we had said last summer that we would put on the warrant is about mixed paper recycling at the transfer station. See if the town would like to reinstate mixed paper recycling at the Tufton Road Transfer Station. Now, the other piece of that is the money that's gonna be involved in
Right.
the additional money, and I don't have that. I know Clay put numbers together.
Right, but I don't know that, so, he said $25,000, I think, is what his number was. But going at it in the direction that this warrant article reads, we should say, starting in 2022, because it would need to be included into the budget. If we do it as a warrant article for this year, starting in 2021,
Well,
I'm not sure that there's quite a lot of setup involved. So I don't know if we can move that quickly, that's, I guess,
I guess my thought is that you gotta put money on here if we're gonna pass it and do it this year. In other words, if it increases the cost at the transfer station by $25,000, then the article has to not only be a referendum on mixed paper recycling, but include the money to launch it this year. If that's 25,000, whatever it is, there has to be a tie between the two. Or it can strictly be a referendum.
right. I just am not confident, although I love him like a brother, that Clay, in the waning hours of his career, put enough effort into it to get us a real number that works. And I think we've changed managers at the transfer station. I think we need to give Chris the opportunity to look at the mandate and then
Yep.
create a budget around that mandate.
Yep.
So I'd be more willing to leave the language where it is and not put any money on
That's fine. Yep.
Or add 2022 on.
it. Right,
Right.
right. I mean, everybody wants government to move at a lightning speed, but it just doesn't work that way.
Yep.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this article with the addition of the language of commencing in January of 2022, or just 2022 is fine.
Commencing in 2022.
2022.
Yeah.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? next article is to see if the town will vote to authorize selectmen to appoint 2 volunteer representatives from the town to serve on the Carroll County Broadband Communication District Planning Committee for the purposes of drafting a communication district agreement under RSA 53-G:2.
So we voted.
And we've already voted on that, right?
You voted to have this put on here, this is the verbiage they wanted.
That's what?
This is what they
Yep.
wanted, how
Yep.
they wanted it.
Yep.
All right. So,
The numbers are wrong, actually.
I'm sorry?
The numbers are wrong on it, but.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Just, all right, the next one is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the budget committee recommended sum of $4,195,950 for general town operations. Selectmen recommended $4,196,100. Article does not include any special or individual warrant articles.
And I highlighted the 3-0 because would that be not 3-0? Because Chip made the comment to me that we're not really, you guys didn't approve the $4,195,950. You approved the
Yeah.
$4,000,001.
We didn't approve the
Right.
Right, so it isn't, it only needs to include the budget committee, it doesn't need to include us.
Right, so
Take you completely.
I think just take the board of selectmen off that,
Okay.
is what I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Recommend
in
vote.
theory, we're voting against it because we submitted something different.
Right.
The practicality is, yeah, so just recommended by the budget committee. It's their budget.
And I guess you guys will get me the numbers from the budget committee on all this, right? On what, once they vote on these warrant articles? Like, where do I get?
Well, the warrant articles are not included in this number.
Right.
Right.
So the way it works is the budget committee presents an operating budget. The budget committee gets to express their pleasure or displeasure about articles on the warrant, but that comes from this board. the warrant
They don't get
articles.
to change any of the warrant articles.
Right,
But
but
they can
do I
vote
put
again.
down whether they, on all these articles, you said on the money ones, I don't put them on there, right?
Huh?
They do, they
No,
vote on
they
each
vote
one.
on the money articles. The other articles doesn't make any difference. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
they have a vote on the money articles
Okay.
to express their pleasure or displeasure.
Okay.
Right. So,
All right. Then, Article 13 is a petition article.
yeah, the last two are
The
petition.
last two are
articles.
petitions, okay. And is this the exact wording of those two?
It is.
Okay.
The 13 one is, the 14,
Have you, I know that,
yes, I used.
Jen got the
thing they
petition,
had on
right?
the petition.
so, yeah, make sure that whatever it is. All right.
All right.
So it's, we can't change a petition warrant article,
Right.
but Article 14 is asking the town of Tuftonboro to purchase property in North Country Village.
All right.
How much money is that gonna cost? There's
Right.
no, I don't know that DRA is gonna say, obviously, we can't not include it, but I guess they'll send us information.
They'll tell
out.
us what, we can't do anything to a petition article, it has to be waived.
Right. So one of the, and we see this time and again, is people bring petition articles forward that have fatal defects if they're approved in the manner in which they're written. Which means either they have to be amended on the floor at town meeting to meet the requirements, and then pass, or fail. But, yes, the requirement is they have to go on the warrant exactly as written. And we've seen this before with petitioners, that they'll bring a petition Article 4 where they'll have defects and they say, well, okay, we'll change it. Well, the only way they can change the petition article is they have to, and have the changed language on the warrant is they have to redo their petition, add all the signatures, and get it submitted by the deadline. Typically what happens is, right at the deadline, this stuff comes in. So it is as it is. All right, let's get these things numbered, and then maybe we can get out of here. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right.
I think I got it.
All right, so we've already got 4, 5, and 6 done.
Okay. 7 is Article A.
Yep,
Hang on. There we go. Okay, so we got 4, 5, and 6. Okay, what do you want to do for 7?
Article
Article A,
SCBA.
yep. All right, huh?
I'm confused.
See it?
I-
Article A, the first one on our list, we're gonna make that number 7. That's the $248,000.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yep. All right, and you wanna make B 8?
B is 8. That's 120,000.
Yep,
8 is B, yeah,
C is 9.
okay.
yep,
D is 10. G is 11.
H is 12,
H is 12, I'm sorry.
yep,
I is 13. J is 15.
15 or 14?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
14, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And F is 15.
Yep,
Wait a minute. We'll do it. Okay, 15,
Yep.
yep.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
K is...
Do we have to do the budget prior to the other two that we need to do, or?
Budget prior to what?
I'm sorry?
Do we have to do budget before what?
Before we do reinstating paper, mixed paper, and,
I don't think that we do.
okay.
I think you want, usually, and I could be wrong, the money one for operations is the last article that you guys are putting forward.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So K would be 16,
16 or 15?
16, because
Oh, yeah, 16.
5 grand is 15.
All right,
Um,
and the,
11 is.
11 would be 17,
yeah,
and 12 would be 18.
Mm-hmm.
and then 13 would be 19,
Yeah.
and
14 would be 20.
14 would be 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, not the longest, but not the shortest.
No, but 3 of those, I mean, there's really only 17 choices to make,
Right,
because 3 of those address the same issue.
yep.
Alright.
Okay.
So I will forward this, rewrite it, forward it to Diana, move to DRA, I'll forward it to Rick, and then I'll forward it to Jane to bring forward to budget.
Right,
Okay?
Yep.
sounds good.
And this-
All right. So let's move on to correspondence. So
Can
we
we
have,
do mine next, because there's some answers I need on there.
do we what?
So,
Do yours.
Do
Yeah,
mine.
yeah,
you got the email from Gina Lazard.
yep,
They are planning on having The Lions Club, Oakboro Lions Club is doing a concession stand down at 19 Mile Bay, but on the lake.
All right, so we haven't issued them a permit yet, correct?
No, because they're doing it on the lake and we have no control on the water, right?
Well,
But they're asking if they have to because of the wind, if they can do it.
they're accessing the lake from the town beach.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
anything that goes on down at that beach in the past has required
Yeah.
approval from this board.
Okay,
And
that's
the-
why.
right, and the important reason is crowd control, traffic control, all that kind of thing.
Right.
We need to make sure that fire and rescue doesn't have any issues with it, that the police department doesn't have any issues. I'm happy to see anything and everything go on in this town, but
Right.
everybody needs to be clued into what's going on.
Okay.
Road agent, because we've got
Yeah.
access, they're gonna
Yeah.
wanna take vehicles out over that launching area that we've spent a lot of money on. So,
Yeah.
they do need, is this a large gathering of people drinking alcohol?
No, it's just her having a concession stand. The Lions Club want a concession stand during the fishing derby to sell hot dogs and food and that kind of thing on the lake to the fishermen. And the reason they brought it to your attention is if the wind picks up bad, they'd like to use the pavilion. That's all it is.
Right, so she's gonna be responsible for all trash removal?
I can make sure she knows that, but I'm sure she knows
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But.
We don't have a permit for vendors here in this town.
No, we don't, and we don't have a event permit per se, like Wolf Pro does. But I do think it's important that fire and rescue and the police department are aware of
Yeah,
this activity.
Okay,
Uh,
so you'd like her to contact fire and police? And
Hmm?
make them aware. You want her to contact them? Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
and we don't participate in collection of rooms and meals taxes, so we just hope that everybody's honest.
Right,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
and it's for a good cause, I mean.
Yeah, it is,
for
yeah.
Lions.
So do you want to make a vote?
We need to vote?
I don't know, what do you want to do with this?
I'll move that we approve the use of the pavilion and/or the lake area adjacent to 19 Mile Beach for the Oakboro Lions Club concession stand.
I guess I'll second for discussion.
Yep.
I'd like to also add, if she's gonna use the pavilion with her hot dog stand, with propane, et cetera, that we'd need some sort of certification of insurance. And it's also on town property at that point in time, so I think, yeah, certification of insurance would be handy.
Yep.
Okay. Are we gonna vote?
Hmm?
That was open for discussion, you seconded it?
Yeah, you got all that? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right. So first aid cabinet, we got one, we don't need another one.
That's
right?
the way we feel, I just wanted to make sure it was.
Yep.
I
Okay.
was called by the gentleman saying that Boyd asked
So
him to do it.
I guess my thought is that this is a
Joint loss safety. plan.
it's joint loss safety, right? So it's a good,
We need a recommendation
Thing.
from them.
yeah, it's a good thing to maybe just give it to Jen, she can bring it up at the next meeting.
Okay.
As to whether we need to add new first aid kits in any of our facilities, or what we have is adequate.
Okay. And the last thing you already have. we
Yep,
already-
yep, we already saw Jim's thing.
Okay, last is correspondence.
All right, so, I'm sorry?
Last is the correspondence.
Yep.
Sorry, didn't-
Yep, all right. So we have a letter from the Police Standards and Training Council certifying the Tufton Borough Police Department meets certain eligibility requirements set forth by the Department of Justice for discretionary federal grants. I guess that's in connection with the money we're trying to get for the police facility, right? Letter of commendation from Chief of Police to Master Patrol Officer Thomas LaFave. An email requesting that Town of Tufton Borough restrict access to 19 Mile Beach and Melvin Wharf to Tufton Borough taxpayers only. And a request from, two requests
Yeah.
that we make Tufton Borough beaches open to residents only. Because 19 Mile Beach was overcrowded. So, I guess it's something we can consider. My gut is, I don't like that approach. Didn't like it when Wolfboro did it. I don't think tit for tat is a way to approach those things. And I'm not aware that we've had a problem or overcrowding at the beaches. One of the letters talks about
Last year, yeah, one of the.
animals defecating at the beach and that sort of thing.
Yeah, a lot of those stories are apocryphal, but I did, when I was down there a couple of times last summer, or I guess it was the summer before, because it was before COVID. I did notice that there were 3 or 4 boats on both occasions on the north end of the, past the pavilion, pulled up on the shorefront with, large coolers and some rowdiness involved. And so I can appreciate where the complaint is heading. Because well, first of all, we had at that point in time lifeguards, but I certainly wouldn't expect lifeguards to be police officers.
Right.
And if you have, beer in the coolers or whatever, it becomes a security issue and it becomes a safety issue. So does that mean that we should shut the beach down to everybody but people that live in Tufton Borough? I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I've got a beach named after my family in Wolfboro that I can't go to.
Yeah.
So it seems sort of odd.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that there's been significant enough monitoring, so maybe we should give that letter to our Parks and Rec director.
Yeah, I certainly think that makes sense to have Dennis,
Maybe a solution in search of a problem, but
yeah,
I haven't,
Well, if we're having specific issues, I would rather see we address the specific issues than just say, well, we'll just make it tough and roll people.
right,
If it's, if it's a question of people pulling up on the beach with coolers, there is likely to be tough and roll people as someplace,
Oh, yeah,
somebody
yeah.
else, so.
and I don't, I didn't recognize.
And that's the kind of thing we don't want to have happening at the beach, and I think we need to address the behavior, and rather than,
Right,
when you go up along Chicorowa, and there's that one parking lot there that's town residents only,
Yeah.
It's,
And then it becomes a policing issue, because what generally happens is you have the citizens doing this, and you don't want that. I mean,
Right.
If you've got a ordinance, then you want the police to
Right,
manage
so,
it.
and I, for instance, I don't know how Wolfboro is enforcing their new ban on out-of-town people. Do they have a policeman down there checking people's?
I honestly don't know. I know the issue that brought that to a head supposedly were buses full of people coming in from south of here to, and not Mexicans, just people from Rochester or
No,
Farmington or
or
whatever.
Massachusetts, yeah.
So those are a lot easier to control than somebody bringing their kids in with a car.
Right,
And, I know at the state beach down on Wentworth, there's actually a gate you have to go through. So you have.
yeah, there's
so
an
they-
attendant there that you have to pay the fee and that kind of thing, yep.
So,
All right,
And I would ask that there is something that you guys need to sign in a confidential folder. It's a lien discharge, but it couldn't be,
okay,
name and stuff couldn't be.
all right. So we'll have to go into non-public at the end to do that.
yeah.
Yep. All right. Any other update?
No, I guess if Kathy's gonna get the warrant articles and all of that off, do you wanna give it one more review on Friday and?
Of this week?
I mean, if DRA comes back with some language change that we don't like, or if they don't like our, list of choices,
Yeah.
we may wanna address that prior to next Monday,
Well, so we're meeting Monday.
yeah.
I'm out of town on Friday.
Okay,
So-
I just ran it by, I'll check it over, if there's an
Yeah.
issue, we can have Kathy pull us on the phone if we need
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
something.
and,
That's fine.
email me whatever the changes might be, and we can do that, yep.
Okay,
Okay.
All right.
that's about it for me, I'm hoping the storm closes the roads tomorrow so I can sleep in for once.
Well, I was traveling today, except the canceled flights,
Yeah.
can't get into Chicago, so I'm traveling tomorrow now, so, and I said, well, what about the storm? Oh, it should be cleared out by then, it's fine, whatever.
Maybe.
That's what they said, so,
It won't be cleaned out of New York by then.
no,
About
well,
2 feet.
I'm not going to New York, fortunately. All right, so you're gonna pass copies of those 2 requests about the beach on to Dennis with,
Okay.
Yeah.
with our, give him a little,
Yeah, just a
ask
quick,
him to kind of,
a quick note that, this is nothing we're gonna decide on until he recommends it, or,
we'd
Gives us
like
more
at least,
information.
yeah,
To monitor and see if there's a need for it.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, if there's big complaints happening, whatever, I mean, I'm not gonna, it's sort of like, no, I guess I won't go there.
Yep.
I was gonna go back to the paper, but.
Yep. All right. Any public input?
Yes, there is. Kathy, will you be calling Gordon Hunt and asking him if he's going to postpone the budget committee this week?
I wasn't gonna, because I felt like,
Because we just said they're going to be meeting next week, and there's a small window for them to review the warrant articles.
that's why the warrant articles would be reviewed this week, what we have.
with the budget committee.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so to follow up on this, in case I'm not here, or whatever, is Jane well-versed in hooking up a camera
No.
online?
No.
Is anyone well-versed to do that? I mean, I can do most of it, but I can't do all of it. If the people are going to meet and if I don't show up, my question is, who's going to turn on the camera?
Well,
Okay.
if the weather's as bad as they say it's gonna be tomorrow, I'm not gonna show up.
Well,
Because I probably won't be able to get out of my.
neither
car.
will I, okay? But if
I
some,
think Gordon's probably gonna be proactive about it and push it out to Wednesday or Thursday.
okay, and that was my question, but to carry on, okay, people are gonna have to get well-versed, and if we're gonna pay for this camera, including me, and if I can't make it, somebody has to learn how to use it. That's all I gotta say.
Well, we're not required to take the meetings, right?
Well, then take it out of the budget. If we don't need the camera, take it off and just rely on me like for the last 15 years. But I'm just saying, you're gonna spend money anyways, so that's my opinion and that's my comment. You can take that under advisement.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I will move that we go into non-public for reputation. Marcus, yes?
I'll second.
Oh.
I'll be yes.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Joe.